Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of Pegasus Movies Podcast. And today we are going to be talking about screenwriting. Now, the most important thing about screenwriting is that, one, it's very difficult. Two, as long as you know your beginning, your climax, and your end, you're good. So let's dig a little bit deep and talk about what makes a good screenplay. A screenplay actually is the writing of a story in like production style. Okay. So for example, you have a movie and you always have to format it a certain way. Okay. So first page, you're going to put your header, who it's written by, directed by, the production company, copyright, all that stuff on your first page. Second page, you're going to have your fade in, right? So however it's going to happen, whether it's going to be a fade in, whether it's going to be a dark screen with audio playing, whether it's going to be a cut in dramatically onto somebody's eyes, however it is that you imagine your movie getting done, that's where you have to put it into. So you have that, and then you have the initial way it goes, right? So it's either going to be internal or external, right? So INT or EXT dash wherever they are at, whether it's in a house, in a car, at a park, at the outside of a restaurant, wherever it is, and then the time of day, right? So that's your first little box header. After that, you're going to have it to where it goes into what does the scene open with, right? So you can have it to where it's like scene opens with a stormy day, cars rushing by. We see people walking in and out of this restaurant, and we see one lonely person sitting outside getting drenched. Right now it's time to introduce that person. Tom, a 25-year-old male, stuck in his ways, poor sense of fashion, broke up, lost everything. And then just be really specific on his character, what he does, why he's the way he is, and then you can start putting him into the story. So then you have Tom, either on screen or off screen. As at this point, since you're just introducing him, it's always best to keep him on screen. So it's going to be parenthesis O.S for on screen and parenthesis. And it goes down, and you have to break it down on what he's doing, what he's saying, how he's acting, and then you want to put little asterisks, right? So say if you're the director, and you get the script, and you're like, man, this is great. Like, say if you didn't write it, go in there and write some notes. Put a little asterisk. I want you to do this when you do this, or I want you to look this way, or put like a little emphasis on this letter or this word, or if you can do this with your hand, or maybe if we can get some fake cigarettes and you could put a fake cigarette out when you're doing this or this, and maybe you can walk out of the bathroom this way, or turn around and do it this way. Just make those little bitty notes. That way, when you go to film this actual movie, you already have your notes of what you're looking for without even seeing the project yet, which is a good start-off point. Then you go into your actual, shot list. Okay, so we made all of our shot list, which I'm going to do a separate video on that. We did all of our shot list. We did the little things that I wanted. Now let's see if we can't do anything else. We have some extra time, some extra film, some extra money. Let's do a little bit more filming and see if we can't get some shots of just however the actor feels. Some of those times, you're going to come up with amazing shots. You're probably going to get the shot in the first take. Does it happen? Yes. Is it rare? Yes. But you want to make sure that it's one of those things that match the screenplay, match the script. You're going to have so many revisions, color revisions. You're going to have so many people saying, I don't like this. Let's change it to this. That's up to you. You're going to have your actors say, you know what? I think this character deserves this or this or this. Cool. Do it. That's something that you feel. Awesome. For those of you watching and not listening, if you want to see what I'm about to show, just go to the YouTube channel of Pegasus Podcast, and I can show you, or just go to Spotify, and you can see there. Here is my script, right? I'm covering up the production office because I don't want y'all to have to show up and be like, hey, let me, one of those things. So this is the original script, okay? We are actually filming this movie in June. Right now it is May 4th, okay? So we're actually filming this in June, so we're pretty excited about it. But yeah, so this is my first script. It's copywritten and everything, so I don't mind showing you. This is kind of what I was talking about. You have the first intro with all these notes. That stuff right there is my shot list, right? So for me, I go through each page and I'll figure out how I want to shoot it, which angles, the way I want to move the camera, lenses, filters, any of that stuff. I'll put notes in here, and this will be my script that I use to film this movie. One, because it's mine already. I already have it. All my notes are on it. And two, because I want to go into this movie already knowing exactly what I want my actors to do, already knowing exactly how I want them to move the cameras, audio, different things like that. When someone's like, why is no one talking here, but yet everybody's moving? Well, because if you look at your script, there is a note that says editing, and that's why. So it's going to be either an audio, or it's going to be just a silent film. It's going to be a silent scene, or it's going to have some white noise, or some like very, very little bitty like hums. It just depends on what you imagine. Remember, making a movie, you can imagine anything. Anything you want, guys. It really does not matter. And when screenwriting comes down, it's good to have a good writer and a good person with a big imagination, because you can say, well, I want it done this way. Cool. Well, let's add a little bit of this in here, this in here. Do your research, okay? If your movie is based in the 50s, you need to make sure that you have someone who can write in the 50s style, from their lingo to their dresses to their suits to their hairstyle, makeup, the kind of cigarettes that they would use, the kind of food they would eat, down to their like camera selections. You need to be able to be like, okay, I want to use this camera. I want this kind of actual like filter, lens, grain. All of that is very important when you're making a movie based on a certain time era. Cars were different, right? Banks were different. Money looked different. So it just depends on what you like and how you can put that into your screenplay. Understand something is that your first screenplay is never going to be your final draft. You're going to have probably about 12 drafts before your final draft. For me, what I like to do, since I can't draw to save my fucking life, is I like to put down my kind of like my concept art for each scene, but I write it out. So I put, outside, this time, this day, this actor did this, then I'll put dialogue, and then I'll just give like a little reference to work off of. Like Tommy's talking about why he can't go to his grandma's house that day. And then when I go into the actual editing, when I go into the actual writing part of the screenplay, I'll put Tommy and his mother talking in the kitchen. She has a cup of coffee, he has a cup of whatever, and then I'll put Tommy opens up with the statement on why he can't go, and then I'll put Tommy on screen, sips from his cup, and gives a big sigh. Mom, I can't go to grandma's house this weekend. I have a big test to study for. Worried about what his mother might say. Tommy looks down into his cup and grasps it firmly. At this time, I'll put a little asterisk, be like, okay, well, I want you to grab it with your right hand, look down, and kind of bring it to your face as if you're letting the steam just go into your body to keep you calm. So those little things make up the scene, right? Make up that one shot. That is a shot in itself. You have your first dialogue with your shot, and then you figure out what kind of lens you want, what kind of camera you want, and what kind of angle you want it. Is it a round table? Is it a big table? Is it a small table? Is it a long stretch? Are they like supposed to be rich, and you have this huge table to fit 20 people, and they're on one end to show the like distance between both these characters? Is she one of those like hateful moms? Is he lying to her because he's gonna have a party? Is she a pushover mom? Is there something deeper? in the like character. Why doesn't he want to go to his grandmother's house? Is she mean? Was she abusive? All those things you can add in, and then you cut to the mom. You have Tammy, or you can put mom, whatever you want to name the character. Takes a sip of her coffee, gives a rolling eye, and decides to scoot her chair in closer. And then she says, then you go on to the actual dialogue. It just depends on what you want it to do. But with screenwriting, man, it's something that is very important. You can either make millions, or you can have millions being stolen from you. So be very careful with that. That's why I don't show anything until it's copywritten. All my stuff is copywritten. All my stuff has gone through my actual my production company. There's nothing on the market that does not have my name on it that I put out. Even down to my YouTube videos, I have standard licensing, and I have copywritten. On my podcast, I have copywritten from Spotify, Anchor, on its own YouTube channel. Everything, it's there, right? One of the things that I've really, really come to notice is that when you're in a room with writers, okay, now I write all my stuff alone. I'll maybe branch it out and be like, hey, what do you think about this? Like, oh, well, I like this character this way or this way. Cool, give them a little credit for that. Other than that, I write everything on my own. So when you're in a room with writers, everybody has a different mindset. But it's a matter of finding those writers that you click with 100%. If the writer is saying, I would like it to be done this way. Okay, cool. Why? Well, because I feel like the character would have a good background story if we changed it from location, or if we started him living in one place and went to the other, because then later in the movie we can describe why he left. Cool. That could be a note to put down. Maybe you didn't think of it. Having multiple brains than one is good, but sometimes dangerous, because it can deter you from your overall image, which could potentially deter the movie and cause a blockbuster bust, which that's not our goal, right? Our goal is to make tons of millions of dollars, win some awards, go to the next project. Every single single movie, even down to short films. Look at The Twilight Zone. It was a TV show of shorts. Each one was different, and it was fucking amazing. They had some weird ones, some funny ones, some out there ones. I mean, it's insane, Look at Love, Hate Plus Robot. It's on Netflix. It's this animated series, and each episode has a different story, different theme, and different animation with different animators and different screenwriters. That's something cool too. If you're thinking about making a team of writers, then I suggest you make one that's good with comedy. You make one that's good with horror, that's good with suspense, that's good with action, that's good with dialogue. Dialogue is such a big thing. If the person can't have a conversation out in the real life, he most likely can't have a conversation with fake people. You know what I mean? You got to be able to communicate and make it feel authentic. And then it's the actor's job to bring it to life, So when you go find these people, just really dig deep, right? On who do I want them to kind of represent the company, represent what I want to do, right? There's a lot of directors out there. None of the big ones, they kind of write their own stuff, but there's a lot of directors that they need help, and there's nothing wrong with that, I'm just very blessed and gifted from God that I can write and do everything on my own at a really decent time. This script right here, it's my movie. It's called Possession, and we'll be filming that again in June. And this is I want to say it's over 30 pages. How many pages is this? Let me see right now. Hold on. This is a 36-page script. Now, it's a short film. Again, I was told to create a short film for a project and for the Academy Awards. So I made a short film. Now, that's 36 pages. My other feature film, right now, we are actually right before the climax of the movie, right? and we're at 167 pages. We're not even at the climax or the derail or the ending. Nothing. And it's 167 pages. It's a big son of a bitch. But movies are like that. Even dialogue for video games, fuck, you'll have stacks of paper. And just how it is. But that's why I don't go into writing until my whole entire like pre-draft is done. Because then I know, okay, so this is what I'm going to keep, this is what I'm not, so I'm going to do, this is what I'm not. It saves me time. And time is money in this industry. If you're wasting time, you're wasting money, and they'll never work with you again. But if you go into this first day of production, right, and you're like, hey, I made some changes to the notes, let's do a table read really, really quick. I'm going to show you exactly what I want done. Cool, everybody get a fucking pen. Flip to page 887. 3 sections down. Tommy, you're going to be saying this. I want to change it to this angle and this time. Cinematographer, if you can get a zoom in at this time and then pan out and focus in at this time. Audio guy, I want to focus mainly on this person. This one's going to be off screen, so we'll make sure that we're going to stay focused on this actual Tommy character as well as get the crisp audio from the off screen actor. Well, at that point, we're going to do a 50-50 shot. I want to get both of them after their dialogue, after all of that. Tommy's going to walk away. Samantha's going to come after him and follow him. We'll cut to the next scene. That's what I want to change. So all of that needs to be put in there. Everybody's script should have that. The audio guy knows, okay, this is what I got to do. The cinematographer knows this is what I got to do. The actors know I'm changing this. I'm walking this way. They're following. All that's different. Okay, boom. Let's go. Then you go to your shot list. Hey, you go to the cinematographer. I want this done. Can we do it this way? What do you think about this? You always ask for their opinion because maybe they can see something that you can't. That's why you hire them, okay? They're good at their job. Don't be trying to be the whole, let me look over your shoulder thing. Again, you're the director or the producer, things like that. Maybe you're just the guy who wrote the movie and you're just wanting to know how it's done. Cool, man. Don't get in their way, though. Just make sure that you're fair. And you're like, okay, I like that. If we have enough time at the end of getting these shots that we all agreed on first, we'll try it. If not, we'll have to go on the next one to save money and to save time. And they will get that. They will all understand everything. So make sure that when you're creating your script, is it a short film? Is it a feature film? Is it a documentary? A documentary is completely different, man. You're going to have your title, everything normal, but then you're going to have, okay, who am I interviewing first? Let me come up with my questions. Where am I going to position them to interview? Sometimes you could write out a whole script. You could be doing some some shot scouting and all that, and then it changes. Maybe that building isn't open that day. Maybe it's bad weather. Maybe everything. You have to be able to adapt. And so you put that there. Okay, well, here, unless otherwise, then you figure it out. You have to be able to move on a dime. Like, I can't stress this enough, guys, when I say you need to have your shit together. If you show up and be like, oh, I'm a director. Okay, you're in charge of everybody. They're going to come to you for answers. And if you go, I don't know, no, fuck that. If someone comes up to you and says, hey, I'm about to change lenses. What do you think about changing to a 50 mil? Okay, well, let me look at the scene we're doing next. If the scene calls for a wide shot, obviously you're not going to use a fucking 50 mil. Unless that's the scene that you're going for and that's the look and that's the feel. If you're going to shoot a wide scene with a 50 mil, then you're going to be far, far away to get that wide. Now, if you're going to do a very, very tight in the eyes or showing a hand or showing writing something, then yeah, you can go ahead and use like 50 mil. Maybe you want something a little bit different. Maybe you want to go to like a 45 to 35, or maybe you want to do a multi-camera section, right? So you want to jump around. So you have multiple cameras shooting different lengths, lenses at different lengths, and you want to make sure everything's good. That's perfectly fine as long as you have the budget. If someone comes up to you like, hey, the audio sounds weird, what do you want me to do? Let me hear it. Oh, it sounds a little bit of, grainy stuff. Let me see the gain. What's your gain at? How far are you from them? Know everything. If they say, hey, my script doesn't show what you have, just let me see it. Sorry, I just had some coffee and an energy drink, so I'm kind of like everywhere. So let's calm down a little bit. Just ask them, let me see your script. Maybe they just didn't get a page in there. Maybe it's just backwards, and that happens. Sometimes you have your script supervisor, which is the person that makes sure the script is the same for everybody. Maybe you just got moved around. It just happens, guys. You don't have to worry about like, oh, I'm gonna get mad at them. No, it happens. You don't have that in your script. Cool. Let's see. Oh, it's right here. Pull that page out. Put it in the front. Staple it. You're good to go. Right. Maybe they're like, hey, this isn't looking good. The lighting's off. Cool. Let's go talk to the lighting guy. Hey, this looks weird. Can we maybe put a bounce here? Or can we put a softbox here? Or can we put a diffuser? Can we use some flags? You got to know everything. When I got into the film industry, I was 14 years old. I started off as a grip and lighting, right? I got a diffuser here. You need to learn your lingo. If someone says, hey, I need this to be soft lit, cool, let's do it. Put your fucking lights on, figure out the color schemes, put a diffuser on, put a softbox on, if you're trying to get something in the back really, really dark, and you want to make the front really, really bright, you're gonna dim the sensitivity back there. Make sure there's like depth of field in your camera, and then make sure it's super, super bright with the soft lit in the front. Just how this is. You need to understand everything, right? So I went from your normal grip person traveling around setting up scenes to a lighting guy, to an audio guy, to a camera guy, right? And I said, you know what? I need to learn the fundamentals of everything. Then I went and learned how to do editing. And I've been doing that now for 10 years. Then I learned how to do screenwriting. And I learned how to do script revisions. I learned how to do, animation, automation, all those things. And then I learned how to direct and produce. I've been a director now for 3 years. And I love it. I love coming up with a story. And when I make something in my head and I write it down, it presents itself in the scene, and it comes out exactly how I thought it would. And that is something to me that's just fucking amazing, because that doesn't happen a lot. You know what I mean? Like, someone could be like, oh, I wanted it this way, but I didn't direct them right and it came out shitty. You can't have that. You got to make sure you know what you want, how you want it, and if something else comes out that's good, cool. If not, okay, we got to go back. I want it this way. This is how I said I wanted it. This is how it's going to be. That's just how you get it done, Now, you have other things that you could do when it comes to screenwriting. You could be a ghost screenwriter, which you write movies, someone else puts their name on it, but you get paid. Not a lot of people do that want to be in the limelight. For those of you that like don't know what I'm about, is I don't care about the limelight. I want to be the kind of director that's like, everybody in the industry knows me because of my directing, but yet the normal person on the sidewalk wouldn't know. Like, I'm on all these cool things with like Discovery Channel as a producer. I'm an editor. I'm a movie director. All these things, but I still go to Target and no one knows who the fuck I am, and I love it because I could just walk around, wear whatever I want, and no one's asking for shit. Now, obviously, once my movies become bigger, once I become bigger, maybe that'll happen. I don't know, but I ain't worried about it. So, screenwriting. You got to make sure that you have your ducks in a row, right? How many characters are they? What are they wearing? How do they act? Do they have an accent? Where are they from? What's their race? What's their height? What do they, do they have curly hair? Are they obsessed with something? Me, I'm obsessed with hats and jewelry. So if I was a character, I would put that in there. Obsessed with a certain hat and jewelry of certain kind, all those things. Do they have a certain food? Are they always chewing gum? Are they always fidgeting with something? Are they always eating candy? Are they always eating chips? Do they have a special cup that they like? It's just all those things on why. Sorry, my chair is loud as fuck. It's just all those things on that makes the movie, that makes the character, that makes the scene, and then you find the actor. Maybe you have to dye their hair, cut their hair. If you got the money to pay them, they'll do anything. There's a movie I'm working on where the girl, she's always has to have her hair wet. Like, it's literally like that's part of the movie. Like, you have jet black hair, it needs to be soaking wet throughout the whole duration of the movie, and the water needs to be following you as you walk, and your clothes need to be drenched. So what I did is I put her on a thing called a shorty, and it's for people that do scuba diving stuff. Again, I do scuba diving and all that things like underwater photography and videography, so it kind of helps. I put her in a shorty underneath her dress so she stays warm. She doesn't get like hypothermia and shit. But her clothes are consistently drenched, and she has multiple clothes of this, like she has multiple sets of the same clothes, but they're consistently drenched, and her hair is drenched all the time. She has waterproof makeup on, and it can get cold, man, especially when we're filming out like side and windy and stuff. So I put her in that to keep her warm, and I'll film with her maybe 30 minutes, right? But hey, we got 30 minutes. Let's get these shots done. After that, you can go change, dry up. Then we'll come back a little later and do these other shots. So you have to be mindful of those things when you're making your like script. If the person's dangling from a roof for 4 hours, obviously that's not healthy. You know what I mean? Like if they're upside down and stuff, you want to try to get a thing called a oneer, which means that you're gonna get the scene and the shot in one take. You can do it. A lot of people do it. If you look at the TV show Loki, I believe, on Disney Plus, there's a scene where they're running through an area to get to the ship to get off the planet before it blows up, and that was like oneer. They literally practiced it, had all their people in a fucking row, and they said action, and they ran through, and everything was just in one scene. Say this was the like sled, right, where the camera's on. They would go backwards, and the guys were just running straight into the camera. They moved around, keep going. It just made it look like it was a consistent shot. And I mean, it was, you know what I mean? It was just somebody on the sleigh getting pulled with the camera focused in, and everything else was just going on behind them. They were throwing the fake boulders, the fake explosions, all that. And that was shot in Georgia, just somewhere in Georgia. They set up the scene and looked great, looked fantastic. And I mean, it's just the magic of movie making. You know what I mean? If you can make a good script, you would be in demand with the industry. No matter what you do, who you're talking to, any of that. This is the thing, man. You could be just a normal person showing to work every day in shorts and a t-shirt, right? You go into this office and they're like, hey, we love your writing, we want you to come work with us. Cool. They're going to give you a room, an office with beautiful windows, beautiful table, desk, whatever service you want. They're going to sit down and you're going to write, and you're going to write and write and write, and you're going to write and write and write and write and write. They're going to be like, hey, we need a script by this time. Your first draft. Cool. So what do? You sit there for hours. Sticky notes all over the wall, everything. That's what this is. All of that is ideas for bits and pieces of movies that I think would be cool. Maybe an idea that I don't know where to put it. And if I'm working on a script that I just kind of missing something, I'll go back. Maybe this idea will work. No, maybe this one. Oh, this one works. Cool. I'll write it in, throw that sticky note away so I don't use the idea again, because you don't want that. You don't want the endings to be the same. You don't want, the characters to be the same. All that kind of shit. Just makes it seem really, really cheesy. But my damn chair, man. But you also want to have a sense of like a trademark. Like, man, that's him. Look at Tim Burton's movies. All of Tim Burton's movies, they're really out there. You know what I mean? And look at Steven Spielberg's. His are just like, he does everything. Look at the difference between Jurassic Park and then War of the Worlds. That's completely two different movies, two different styles, but you can tell it's Steven Spielberg. You know what I mean? Or Ron Howard. I mean, his stuff is good. You know what I mean? And if you haven't seen Ron Howard stuff, just look at the movie Rush. It's fucking amazing. You have Jon Favreau. He's my all-time favorite. If he could be my mentor, man, I would love that. Everything he's done. Look at Elf compared to Chef, compared to The Mandalorian, compared to, Jungle Book, the new Lion King, all that. Not the original Jungle Book, but the new Jungle Book. Animated series, all those different things. He's working his ass off, and he's part of the Directors Guild and everything. And it's just super cool to see, man. It's just super cool. But screenwriting is the most important thing. You have a huge script with what you imagine this world to be like. So let's break it down, right? Your header, the idea, okay? Now this is saying that you already have your scene list done. We'll just call it that. Pretty much, if you can make your concept art piece, right? This is what they look like. Let me go ahead and draw it. Normally, what they would do is they would draw each scene on what the character would look like, what he's doing. So whatever you described in your screenplay, they're gonna draw it square by square. That way they know this is what it looks like. This looks good. I can't draw, so I just figure it out. You know what I mean? However yours is, whether it's a sticky note with the character's name, what they look like, how they act, and a little bit of dialogue to start off, cool, man. When you get into the script part, sit down, put it all into formation. Now I'm going to let you in on a little secret, okay? If you go and buy this book, I promise you it will teach you everything on screenwriting. It will be the best book ever, okay? I read it, changed my life. It's called The Idiot's Guide to Screenwriting, okay? Go to Half Price Books, go to Amazon. It will teach you everything you need to know. I promise you. You won't regret it. So, get that, sit down, come up with your character, the location, their style, their habits, if they have an accent, how old they are, what the movie's about, what they're doing, and then go out and write it. And that's all there is to it, guys. If you'll have any questions, it's very important because I said it multiple times. If you have any questions, either email me at pegasusmoviespodcast@gmail.com, go to my website at pegasusmovies.com, or just hit any of my social media up at Pegasus Movies. I will respond to you. If you have a request for a special topic, I will cover it. I promise. I do it all the time. So, on that note, I'm Robert Bettis. This is Pegasus Movies Podcast. Bye.